correct. Broncos Country, we are back. This is Mike Up. I'm your host, Mike Carmellini. Joining me tonight, Zach Segars. Let's talk Broncos. Sayre Bedinger, Locked On Broncos. It's gonna be lit. What's up, fellas? Welcome back to the big stage. Two undefeated guest hosts facing off. Let's get it on.
Gotta love that week 2 battle of the undefeateds between the two 1-0 programs. So yes. Slobber knocker, but excited to be back. Excited to be doing battle with one of the absolute best in Broncos country.
Dude, likewise, it's gonna be fun. Thanks again for having me back, and I appreciate this show. I appreciate what you do. It reinvigorates the passion for
let's go
listeners too.
Don't make me start using my buttons already. We just got here.
It's a great idea. I'm already kicking myself for us not doing it sooner. It's so good. I'm glad to see you doing well with it, Mike. It's a blast to take part in.
Thanks, guys. I do appreciate it. And this is episode 10, so it's a big one. And we hit 500 subs. So thank you to everyone out there in Broncos country for supporting the show. If you if you're on tonight, let's make sure you're you subscribed and liked and all that stuff. And of course, Let's Talk Broncos and Locked On Broncos would certainly, and I'm sure you already are, but if you're not, get over there and like there and subscribe to there, guys. A little bit's changed since the last time we were on here. Sayre, you won the toss. We've gone through the first sort of foray into free agency, and we've picked up some players, like a safety, a linebacker, like took care of the guts of our defense, and a joker ace on offense. Sayre, what's your new latest State of the Union for Broncos country as we sit here today?
I think it's got to be just the fact that we have, once again, every reason to be excited about this team. Like we talked in the last time I was on about how we don't have to really worry about the quarterback position anymore, which is in and of itself reason to be excited. I feel like it's a joy to be on Twitter arguing about tight ends and running backs and should we be taking what can we do in the first round of the draft? Let's dream it up together. So I feel like that part of it is really exciting, but after free agency, you just feel the flexibility for this team is there, and it's exactly where you want to be at this point in the offseason, just able to go into the draft, not necessarily do whatever, but really attack building around a franchise quarterback in the exciting way, which I think, back in 2020 is the last time we kind of even had even remotely this type of experience.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love that. Zach.
Sorry. I think 2020 is the time to go back to, except you are building on something really substantial here. I think Drew Lock, he had that great Houston game, but it was, hey, this guy had 5 okay games and he's young and he's the future and let's load him up with weapons and let's see where it goes. But you didn't have coach figured out. Ownership was still a big question mark looming over this program. They've got more pillars figured out now than they ever have before. And the quarterback looks more substantial than it ever has before. I mean, even with Russell Wilson, there were signs of decline in the 2021 season, even back half of 2020. And you had never seen him in orange and blue. It was great to imagine this is a guy who probably at the time, probably a Hall of Famer one day. You're getting him for maybe 4 or 5 years, and maybe you don't get a Super Bowl, but it should be a great quarterback. Never got to even see it really materialize. The closest you got was training camp. He looks good out here. And I was unfortunately a part of that. But Bo Nix, it's a little more substantial. And you've got the offensive infrastructure with the coach in place that you think that should be figured out. You've got ownership that's willing to spend. So if you find a Jamar Chase or T. Higgins, you're not going to be painting over what to do there. The GM, I think he had a really rough start to things, but he's been on fire lately. The partnership with him and Sean Payton is great. The organizational pillars seem to be in place. The only one currently that's a question mark is quarterback, and the outlook there is really promising.
Yeah, absolutely agree with all that. Both of you guys coming in positive. This is positive, mic'd up. This is what we want, right, guys? We want to keep it real. We want to keep it real.
Well, that's the thing with the Broncos. They're just actually good now. I don't have to be like, God, it's Teddy Bridgewater, guys.
Yeah, it is nice. My favorite part of this, and I've said it before, I love the fact that we're not talking about coaches and quarterbacks, right? Like just be done with that. And why didn't we take this one over that one, or should we take this one? And Yeah, it's just a great time to be a Broncos fan, man. And I do have one issue though. Running back room. So Zach, if you remember on episode 1 when we did this, I told you that Javonte would be gone and that Jaleel and Estime would be back for camp for sure, and then we'll see what happens. And here we are. Good take, bad take. My take is we need to sign a veteran running back. And before you say anything, Zach, I'll go to you first. Before you say anything, I'm just nervous about pass pro. Like, I don't know that we have anybody that has proven themselves, a good pass protector. We need a P. Ryan role. Like, we don't need a star, but we need somebody in there. What are your thoughts on that? Is that a good take or a bad take if I say that we need to sign somebody?
I think that's a good take. I do think they need to add a veteran running back in the room. If the Broncos were to absolutely crush this draft, I think we all want them to draft a running back too. But if they were to absolutely crush this draft and draft Alvin Kamara 2.0, right, probably the best Sean Payton has done in the draft in terms of running back. Alvin Kamara, if you look at the touches in that, 2017 Saints backfield, it's like 50-50 with Mark Ingram. I think in terms of total touches, Kamara has the advantage, but in terms of carries, Mark Ingram has the advantage. And it wasn't like Kamara took a while to gear up in the NFL. It was pretty clear, this dude's a real deal player and is going to be special for a long time. Sean Payton doesn't, and honestly, this is a thing with Vance Joseph too on defense, but Sean Payton doesn't love trusting rookies with a very large role on offense. And I think Devon Villay is an extreme outlier in that regard, and credit to him for that. Maybe we shouldn't give up on Estime for that reason. I've been a little quick to do so, admittedly. So I think that's important to keep in mind. So you need to round out that room with some sort of veteran they trust. I think the pass protection point is also a great one. It's hard to feel great, I think, about many college backs entering, the league and immediately being a plus player in that regard. So need to do it. I think they need to do it quick though, because we're starting to run out of appealing options. I think it's J.K. Dobbins. That's the one everyone's searching, and then circling, and then I can squint and I don't know. Jamal Williams. Am I going to have to talk myself into that, or Jeff Wilson? Maybe Nick Chubb, but I think Nick Chubb was considerably had considerably less pop than even Javonte last year. So. It's rough out there. They need to make a move on it now. Yeah.
Sayre, what are your thoughts on the running back room? Bringing in a vet?
I've all offseason been very anti bringing in a veteran running back. And the reason being is that I think when we saw the youth movement last year from this Denver Broncos team, obviously Sean Payton seems to be sticking to his guns. We saw obviously Bo Nix start opening day, first rookie opening day starter since John Elway. And then you had the young receivers that over the course of a season, I think Zach is onto something. Sean clearly didn't trust those guys with big roles necessarily early on, other than Devon, right, who got the week 1 touch or got the targets. But down the line, we saw Estime get benched in the playoff game for Tyler Bidet. And then Troy Franklin, his role week in, week out was what even is he doing here? We hoped that Lucas Kroll could become a weapon at tight end. And even though he led that position group in receptions, it was barely 1 per game. And so where is that trust factor going to come from the young guys? But that seems to be the right strategy to me, because you already have Jaleel McLaughlin, you have Estime, you have Bidet, you have Blake Watson. And I just feel like those types of guys, do you want to steal reps from those guys with a veteran who's not going to be on the team beyond this year? Now, if it's to come and play a specific role like pass protecting, I don't know. Is that a failure on the scouting department's part to say, hey, we had a 3rd round grade on somebody like Audric Estime, but he can't pass protect? That would be interesting to me to find out what's the issue there with him, because he seems to be the archetype of the back that could stick his face mask in there and hit somebody. So to me, I do think it has to be the rookies that come in and do the thing, because Sean Payton's clearly seemingly committed to that for this roster.
Yeah. That is a great take, and I gave you 3 extra points because Zach had to go to the bathroom or something.
I had to grab water, but and protect myself from the scalding hot takes.
So yes, fire. You know what? I think that Sayre, it's not about, and I wouldn't even care if they brought him in and then got rid of him. Like, I just don't, not knowing that we have someone that can do that is my point. Like, let's not wait until the season starts to realize we don't have anybody that can do pass protection. I guess that's kind of where I was going with that. I would feel better if they added somebody to the room. Again, it doesn't have to be an all-star, and it won't be because there aren't any, but they need somebody in there. Guys, Fanatic Dak, pertaining to the running back position, you guys, are you for running back in round one? I assume that it depends on who else is there, but Sayre, what do you think?
Mm-hmm.
Did you go?
Yeah. No, 100%. I would. I mean, if running back, especially if running back is trending towards potentially, I know Saquon Barkley's just kind of broken the ice here, but if running back is trending towards being a 20 million per year position again, then I think it does jump back into the first round conversation, because I mean, the NFL running backs basically went to the NFLPA. Wasn't it just last year or 2 years ago? And they're like, hey, like, we're getting borderline blacklisted by NFL teams right now. They won't pay us more than we're worth. The franchise tag for a running back just last year or 2 years ago was between 10, 12 million, something like that. And so if running back is bumping itself back up into that overall playmaker premium position, then I think it jumps into the first round conversation. The question is do you feel like these guys can get past their rookie deal? Because we know Sean Payton has always invested heavily in running backs, dating back to his first draft with the Saints. First pick that he had was Reggie Bush. And then just a few years later, takes Marvin Ingram, round one. Once again, George Payton, one of his first drafts with the Vikings was, I think maybe even the first one was Adrian Peterson in round one. And a few years later, you have all these other sorts of backs that are coming in. George Payton and Sean Payton seem to share that value of the running backs, but are these guys going to get to second contracts? Like, does Javonte Williams make them gun shy about going with a running back high in the draft? Or do they say, you know what, that's an isolated case, as opposed to the plethora of history that we have with running backs having short shelf life?
Yeah. I guess before I throw it to you, Zach, to your point there, I don't mind a first round running back. I know it sounds cold, but you get him for 4 years, you get a 5th year option. And then after that, if you send him on his way, you get another cost control guy in there, and then you don't have to worry about 30-year-old running backs in your room. Zach, what do you say to that, to Dak, about first round running back position?
Yeah, I think there's going to be a big overcorrection from the Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry situation. I think running back market got too depreciated, and you saw the smart teams, the Ravens and the Eagles, take advantage of that and sign two of probably the most special running backs we've seen enter this league since 2015 or so, and capitalize and just have tremendous success as a result. And that's great. But not everyone is Derrick Henry or Saquon Barkley or Bijan Robinson or Ashton Genty. But I'll tell you something. Amarian Hampton is one of those guys. In my book, he is damn special. And I'm fine taking him at that 20th pick. I think, this isn't Javonte Williams just because he went to UNC too. This is a guy who I think he has that pass protection ability. He has that third down capability entering the league, even if it's not the strongest part of his game. And he's just everything you want as a runner. He's strong. His contact balance is just out of here. It's crazy. Great mover too, like a very explosive, fast, imposing runner. It's not just, I don't know, a guy that's going to bowl you over. And he's got the vision that Javonte never had, and just the feel for the position that Javonte never had. Javonte was always, like, in terms of tool set, they are somewhat similar, but Javonte had never fully put it together. Amarian Hampton is much further along in terms of like having the vision and knowing how to use those immense physical gifts. And that's the type of guy who, like, you have that incredible upside and you can be used on all three downs. That's the type of running back that should be going in round one. And if it weren't for Ashton Genty having a historic season that we were all talking about starting in September, I think there'd be more conversation about like who's the better running back in this class. Ashton Genty is smaller than average. I think there are legit questions about, is he going to be a premier back in the NFL for 7-8 years, which if you're drafting a guy in the first round, top 10 or whatever, I think you want that. I don't have those questions with Amarian Hampton personally.
Oh. Well done. And you jumped my banners. So extra point for that. Sayre, Amarian Hampton at 20?
Yeah. I'm in. I mean,
Let's go.
you watch the guy at the scouting combine. He looks like there's a lot of times when you know how they play the highlights of the guy from the combine, like after he's become a star in the NFL, and you're like, dang, like why didn't I think of that while the guy was doing the drills and stuff? Like you can just tell now having the context, knowing that he's great in the NFL. Like that guy just looked like a legit NFL running back out there. The way that he moves, just the size, everything about him, the way guys carry themselves. You pay attention to that stuff. And we know the Broncos have had heavy contingencies at UNC for years now. They've had a pipeline down there. I don't know who the scout is that's down there all the time, but they clearly trust whoever that is because they scouted Sam Howell super hard. They scouted obviously Javonte Williams and a number of other guys. So you feel like they've got a good beat on that program. And so, yeah, I'm all for him at pick number 20 because right now we're in this window. Like we're in a window with Bo Nix. It's not a disappearing window. It's like a, hey, go kick the door open kind of window. Like that's when you take a running back, maybe round 1 or high round 2, things like that. And so that's what I'm all about. And especially in a draft like this, where people say, well, pick number 10 is not going to be much different from pick number 35 in terms of the quality of the prospect. So then why not go get a guy who's better at making plays than pretty much everybody else if he's still sitting there? So I like it. There's times for meat and potatoes, and I think that you could at D-line in round 1, you could do it. But if Omarion Hampton's sitting there, I mean, you got to go for the flashy, the guy who's going to come and score touchdowns for you, because that's what this team needs offensively. Somebody who can finish drives.
Yeah, isn't he like 6'something", 220? Isn't he like a big guy?
From granite, he is. I mean, I fully agree with Sayre's combine take there. I mean, Greek god. Yeah, he's a monster. It would be a great addition. I don't know. He's one of the, just to Sayre's point about the positions, he's one of the, I don't know, 10, 15 best players in this class, I think. A class that's really starved for high-end talent. And you could have that, or you could have one of those guys that falls into that kind of late first, mid first round mush that Sayre was just referencing at a position like defensive line, which they definitely need help on the defensive line, but give me the dude at running back.
If he's there, I agree. Yeah. You know what, Zach? Zach takes the lead back. Let's go.
Taking the lead.
Let's go.
That's a strategy.
So before we came on, Shefty was on, where was he? Altitude? It's on Altitude Radio.
Wow.
And yeah, 49ers were fighting to get Greenlaw even after we had an agreement done with him. And yeah, they were calling him, don't do it, come back, sign, and he still chose 49ers. That makes me sleep a little bit better at night about, well, a couple things. One, if they wanted him back that bad, and the whole injury thing, right? So I just want to throw that out there before I brought up this little subject right here. Greenlaw Singleton, is that going to be the duo, or is it going to be Sternat? Like, who's it going to be, right? Zach, what do you think? Where are we going to go? I know it's too early to say, but it's my show and I make the rules. Who's going to be the starting inside linebackers for the Denver Broncos when the season starts?
Well, certainly Greenlaw, of course. That's one of them. And I think the Niners wanted him back because everything I've heard from all the beat writers and whatnot in the wake of that signing is how he was just the beating heart of that defense. I think in a way that maybe Kareem Jackson was for the Broncos a couple years back, like that guy, that spark play, TJ Ward on those teams. And then I think they got another one of those beating hearts of the 49ers defense with Talanoa Hufanga. Like, I really think they kind of stole the 49ers spirit in a sense with those moves. But next to him, man, I think it's wide open. I would bet, I think I'd bet on the field right now. I think that mystery name is the person I think is starting opposite of Greenlaw ultimately. I think Singleton is probably something, because PJ Locke is a shoe that makes sense to drop at some point here, and it hasn't dropped either. Those were two, I think, pretty obvious accounting moves for the Broncos to make this offseason, and they haven't made them yet. I expect that they'll be coming at some point, and not that Singleton will be released, but I think they're going to rework that deal just because they've got all the leverage and there's no reason not to, and get yourself some extra cap space. It's just a very easy mechanism for them to use.
Yeah.
If
Sayre,
well, but he could be out, and then maybe it's Sternad. Ultimately, I think it's going to be the other guy. Sorry.
no, that's all right.
Good.
I kind of agree with you.
Yeah.
Sayre, what do you say?
I think 2025 is the absolute perfect time, and I know Kodiak just commented it. I think it's the perfect time for obviously Drew Sanders to come into the mix. This is the ideal scenario. I know Todd Davis is now on the coaching staff, and remember, at the back end of Todd Davis's career, he went into training camp as the clear, unquestioned one of the two starting linebackers, right? And then they cut him shockingly right before the start of the season, went a completely different direction. This is Drew Sanders' opportunity to go out and prove that he can steal a job from a guy who started multiple years, and Justin Sternad, who did pretty well in his first year as a full-time starter. Drew Sanders has 2 years left on his rookie deal. If ever there's a time for him to come in and claim a role in this defense, it's now, because Dre Greenlaw is going to be able to be the green dot guy. He's going to be able to be, like Zach said, the heart and soul of the defense immediately. I think he's going to adapt to culture perfectly. I think he's going to be able to call the defense right away. And so Drew is going to be able to go out there and do what he does best, which is fly around, make plays, attack the line of scrimmage, be a weapon, a pressure player, as Sean Payton called him after he was picked, and do all the things that he does well in year 3. And this is, I'm going to try to manifest it, because like projecting it is impossible, because Drew Sanders came into the NFL. We're like, what position is he even going to play? And the Broncos, I don't even think knew, because he was an off-ball linebacker, then he was an edge guy, and it's like Michael Scott with the snip, snap, snip, snap, snip, snap. What's he going to be, right? And so you bring him in, and you've got this ball of clay to mold. And I think the injury last year, just that was the suckiest timing for an injury for him, because he's in the formative years of his career. He's got to take that jump here in year 3. And I think I'm just gonna call it now and manifest it that Drew Sanders is starting next to Dre Greenlaw.
Ooh. Let's go, as I like to say. Drink. Well done. Done. I like that. Zach, did you have any additional points on that? I know your brain was working.
I think, that I agree with Sayre that that's the ideal outcome. I mean, you invested in this guy. The talent is through the roofs. In my Madden franchise, he's doing tremendous right now. He's got that star development rate. He's like 87 overall. He's great. So the vision, the path is there for him. I think Sayre put it great. It's 1,000% of projection. There's very little.
Nothing to go on at this point.
Yeah, there's very little Drew Sanders has done outside a Razorbacks jersey that would suggest he's going to be a quality NFL linebacker. I think of the options on the roster, I wouldn't be surprised if Sternad's the best of them. I'd say that. I think Singleton's play the 2 years prior to his serious injury at age 31 already showed signs of slippage, and now he's coming off the devastating knee injury. And maybe he is still better than Sternad. That wouldn't surprise me at all either. But I saw a lot of people chuckling at the Kliss report that Sternad's going to have a chance to compete for that starting job. I think he's got not the inside track by any means or anything. I think that's a very real competition as it stands.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sayre, last words.
100%. Yeah, 100% agrees. I mean, Sternad, I thought, was the best, most consistent last year. I know Cody Barton may have made more flashy plays, but I feel like attacking the line of scrimmage and making plays at or behind the line of scrimmage, Justin Sternad was better. And so to me, I think you have something to build on with him. The Broncos obviously didn't feel like they had anything to build on with Cody Barton. And so at least with Sternad, you're getting high-end special teams at worst, but I think he showed last year that, man, he can actually play if he's given extended looks out there.
Yeah. I like it. That was a good segment. I'm happy we talked about that. Let's get into this real quick. Do you guys have who's your favorite free agent signing out of the batch that we just got, Zach?
I mean, we just talked about him, Dre Greenlaw. I will re-highlight the points about him being the heart and soul of that 49ers defense, a defense that was tremendously successful. I know Patrick Claybon on NFL Network was saying it, but he also isn't the only one that if Dre Greenlaw doesn't pop his Achilles in that Super Bowl, the 49ers probably win that game. They had the lead. Their defense was dominating the Chiefs' offense at the time. And not only do you lose one of your best defensive players, you lose your heart and soul and kind of demoralize everyone with how heartbreaking that injury was. I'm not a 49ers fan, and I remember being pretty downtrodden when I saw Greenlaw go out that way. Just like in the Super Bowl, like you're just walking off the sideline onto the field, and it's just like, oh, and you're done until December the next year. And then I think the big concern with guys coming off Achilles is, one, do they have recurring injury problems that we won't know because we can't see the future? But the other is their movement seriously affected? And I think Greenlaw looked like almost the exact same dude, maybe the exact same dude coming off the Achilles, which is remarkable, especially when you consider, because it happened in the Super Bowl, there was a ticking clock. There was pressure for him to come back ASAP, especially with Warner having the ankle problem he had and the 49ers just struggling in general. There was a ticking clock and pressure for him to maybe even rush back from that injury. And yet he was, just phenomenal in limited time. But that movement's that movement. It looked just as good. Then you pair it with the fact that the contract is structured just, they learned their lesson from the Russell Wilson deal and the Randy Gregory deal. It's a 3-year deal, or it's a 1-year deal with 2 single-year team options tacked on the back end. And they didn't have to bump up the AAV to a Nick Bolton range or something, because that's what I was expecting. If you're going to have that level of team control, I'd assume Dre Greenlaw wants the security of, hey, if I play really good, I want to make what I should make, like a Nick Bolton, like a whatever. Somehow he's not. Somehow he's on the cheap salary, and the Broncos have the ability to move off of it after a single year or 2 if another injury were to crop up. In the meantime, if you get healthy Dre Greenlaw, this is one of the best bargains on the free agent market. It really can't go wrong for them. He could fail to play much of this season, but if he gets you 10 games this year, and that's it as his Broncos career, if he gives you 10 games of Dre Greenlaw level play, and then heaven forbid, bad injury, Broncos career is over, he's lived up to the contract. That's the crazy. The floor is so low, and the ability for him to create surplus value is so high. Sorry, Sayre, I'm hyped about it.
No, you're good. I love it.
Let's go.
It's great.
Let's go. Sayre.
Yeah, 100%. It's great stuff, man. I love listening to that. It gets me even more excited about the signing to hear Zach talking about it. And, you think about the Zach Bond deal, which was 3 years, 51 million, 34 million guaranteed, something like that. The Broncos just got Talanoa Hufanga and Dre Greenlaw for, 20 million for Hufanga and 11.5 million for Greenlaw and guaranteed cash. So, talking about less guaranteed money for those 2 guys than what the Eagles paid to keep Zach Bond around. And I realize he just coming off a great season and everything, but I think that's how you win free agency, is you go out and you get guys that everybody's coming with some kind of red flag, whether a team, it could be a Jawan James kind of red flag where it's like, hey, we don't even want this guy at all around here, or it could be injury red flags. So you got to take calculated risks. My favorite signing, though, was Evan Ingram. The same excitement that I had when the Broncos traded up on day 3 of the draft, and we're sitting there on Saturday and we're like, man, Troy Franklin's still there. Bucky Irving is still there. Like, what if the Broncos would move up and go get one of those guys? And they actually did that. To show that kind of support for your young quarterback by going out and signing an Evan Ingram, getting a free agent in the building after he was cut, bringing him in before the legal negotiating period, getting him after he went and visited the Chargers, right? He left Denver and he went and visited a rival team, and he chose to come to the Broncos. There's got to be a story about that we'll hear from Sean Payton down the line at some point. But you go and you get a playmaker like that, and to see how excited he is about his upcoming role with the Joker tweet that he put out there and things like that, like getting a playmaker for Bo Nix, that excites me greatly, because it's one of the first times that we've really seen the Broncos get super aggressive in making a move to support their young quarterback. I know they've only had really, this offseason and part of the draft last year, but you get what I'm saying. It's that aggressive move to go after somebody to support your guy, to prove what you're saying. Like, we believe in this guy as the quarterback of this team for the future. So that was my favorite move for sure.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. He was mine too. Just because I love Bo and I want some offense, but I think we probably have to do this. It's a new thing we did last week, and turned out really good. I'm gonna put my don't mind if I put my old person glasses on here. So we flipped a coin, and Sayre, you won the toss, correct? And I said you get stack A. All right, this is famous Broncos taboo. I have 2 stacks of 10 names. I shuffled them. Stack A is for you. Now, I have not looked at these, but my understanding is that one of these was mostly quarterbacks and the other was not. So okay. I don't know what names we're getting, but here's the rules. There's a minute on the clock. I have to get you to say the name of this player without giving you the name of the player or the number.
Okay.
Any questions? No, of course not. Because if you have questions, I deduct points. All right, here we go. Taboo. I'm going to look at the first one just to make sure I can read it. Okay, yeah. All right, Sayre, we're flying through these.
Okay.
We get 10 out of 10. D-Mac got 9, and Ben from Sports Talk got 9. No one has gotten 10 yet.
Okay.
I'm gonna do my best to get you there. You ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
Here we go. Running back. A cornerback we traded Clinton Portis for.
Champ Bailey.
Oh, a Super Bowl starting quarterback, Super Bowl 50, our quarterback.
Peyton Manning.
Oh my gosh. Country boy.
Andy Janovich.
Quarterback who started 4 games for Elway in Elway's last season.
Bobby Brister.
Yes. Kawabunga, safety from the 49ers. We just signed him.
Talanoa Hufanga.
Our wide receiver 1 from last year.
Cortland Sutton.
Oh my gosh. His father was Super Bowl quarterback for the Dolphins in 72. He was our quarterback, and
Brett Rippon.
He was Shanahan. He was backup for Elway and then the starter the next year.
Brian Greasy.
They call him Strap.
Chris
Quarterback.
Harris.
Did you say Harris?
Yeah, Chris Harris.
A big running back benched for the Buffalo game last season.
Audric Estime.
Greatest quarterback of all time.
John Elway.
9.
Dang
Man,
it.
we got hung up on that one. I'm sorry.
That was my fault. It was Greasy. I don't know why I was
Ryan Greasy. Yeah.
I'm too stuck in these dead times. This dark age of Broncos football. Yeah.
All right, 9 out of 10. That's good. You get some of that.
Glory days.
So the last card, just out of curiosity, the last card says, let's see, I would have had to say 2016 quarterback starter right after Peyton.
Simeon.
Yeah. So we would have got that one quick. So we got hung up on Greasy. I did not know that. What did you say when I said his father was a Super Bowl winning quarterback for the Miami?
I was thinking, I don't know. I'm thinking
I thought maybe you knew something I didn't, because
I don't know nothing. I don't know nothing about 72 Dolphins.
I'd say you know plenty.
Good pull though.
Zach, you don't look excited. You look worried.
I'm locked in, man. I'm focused.
Locked in, right here. You and me now. We're a team.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Time's on the clock. Now, you got 9. Before I forget. There we go. All right. Zachary. Here we go. Ready?
Yeah.
Defensive player of the year last year, cornerback.
PS2.
Oh, D lineman, probably our second best defensive player.
DJ Jones? Oh, Zach Allen.
Oh my gosh. Super Bowl 32-33, all-time receiver for the Broncos.
Rod Smith. Shannon Sharp.
Smiling assassin, Hall of Fame safety.
Steve Atwater.
Oh, sack leader for last year, pick 6 fumble.
Dick Benito.
Second round quarterback, picked like 42. Vic hated him.
Drew Lock.
2 gloves. Vic loved him.
Oh, Teddy Bridgewater.
Oh, a quarterback, the Snake.
Jake Plummer.
Quarterback again, Jets quarterback, butt fumble guy.
Oh, Mark Sanchez.
Oh my gosh, the bust, the patch, really tall, goofy.
Paxton Lynch.
Let's go! 10 for 10. 10 for 10.
Nice.
8 seconds to spare. Zach Segars with a new mic'd up record. My Lord.
That was great.
I'm more excited than you guys. I don't even remember what your score was.
I'm very excited.
Whatever. I'm giving you like a million points.
Like I can't over celebrate my getting 10 on Broncos.
That was big time. That was big time.
In your face, D-Mac. That's awesome, dude. Well done. Well done, both of you. I mean, we're keeping that bit, right?
That's a good game. That's better than the first trivia.
That's better than sitting here doing trivia for 10 minutes, I think. We'll figure out something else for trivia, guys. Don't worry. This is our trivia. We're doing it now. We'll figure out something else too. But as it stands right now, I love this too much to not do that. It's just more. I'm like sweating. I'm literally. It's all sweat. It's all sweat.
Yeah, you have pressure because
you're talking about Greg Greenlaw.
That's what that got you sweaty.
Oh yeah, I had some back sweat going on there, but I was like, man, I'm getting a little too excited about Dre Greenlaw here. But
I've got a doctor here to check my blood pressure if it gets too much, so we're good. All right, the one that got away is there. Sayre, let's start with you. So free agency's coming and it starts. And was there one that you were like, man, let's get this guy? Was there somebody out there that we didn't go after that maybe disappointed you a little bit at all?
Not at all, honestly. I came into free agency with a pretty open mind and kind of agreed with what the pundits are saying, honestly, just about the fact that, like, it's not the great free agency class. If there was, a little bit on the Chris Godwin side, if I had to pick anybody, because it came so close to Chris Godwin getting there and just the dream of him potentially hitting free agency and, maybe the Broncos would at least try, but that was really the only guy that excited me to that degree. I think everybody else, you're kind of just like, all right, they should be able to go get the linebacker that they want. They should be able to go get a safety that they want. If they want to go running back, great. There's not even really that many good guys out there to go get. So, no skin off my back if it's not the guy that I want. So now, not other than maybe quarterback, I think everybody kind of wanted to see one of those two guys back. Jarrett Stidham or Zach Wilson, obviously, but this free agency class, not really one that I'm like, man, the Broncos really had to have this guy and they didn't get him.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. Zach, what do you say? Anybody that broke your heart not coming here?
Yeah, I think we go back to the running back conversation. As we were talking about before, it's like, ooh, J.K. Dobbins is kind of all that's left. That was an okay option to me at the start of free agency. Not my most favorite, and now it's all that's left. I would have rather, Rico Dowdle and Ty Johnson are the ones I'm kicking myself over. I think Rico Dowdle, even in a world where Aaron Jones hits the free agent market, I think he's right there with Aaron Jones for conversation of or the title of best free agent running back out there right now. I think because Dowdle had a disappointing start to his career where he was, buried behind the corpse of Zeke Elliott, everyone, anybody fantasy points those first few seasons when people were drafting him, seeing what was going on with Zeke, and he disappointed everyone. I think people went, God, this guy can't beat out that version of Zeke. He's terrible. He finally got a chance this year. And he ran great. He looked good. I think he was an actually quality running back for the Dallas Cowboys and would have fit in perfect for the Broncos. But even if you didn't want to shop in that aisle, it's a little expensive, $6 million, 1-year deal. Ty Johnson, $2.5 million a year. All that, the passing down concerns we were talking about at running back. Ty Johnson is one of the best receiving backs in football. I think one of the best, scat satellite backs currently in the game. And he just signed a 2-year, $5 million deal. We don't know how many guarantees are on that currently, so it's probably very, very minimal. You're telling me the Broncos couldn't have done $6 million over 2 years, even backload that thing and get him in here for the year to help out with that Bo Nix's pass protection, that pass catching safety blanket in this offense, and be an upgrade there. You'd kind of have a secondary J Word, a secondary Jack Nicholson, as I've been going with it, secondary Heath Ledger, 2 Evan Ingram, one coming out of the backfield, and also just free you up a little more flexibility with how you want to tackle running back in the draft. Also, really quick while I'm on the topic, Ty Johnson, University of North Carolina Tar Heel. Notice how he's not the same as Javonte Williams. That's all I got to say.
True.
Well done. Sayre, what say you, sir?
Yeah, I mean, as far as that last point, never scout just the helmet, right? That's why people said Patrick Mahomes was going to be bad, because no Texas Tech quarterback has ever translated to the NFL, right? And so it's always funny to me to do that. You gotta shift your thinking there in that way if that's how you think about scouting. But yeah, I like the Rico Dowdle move. I believe it was Carolina, right? That brought him in. I was surprised that Dallas didn't try to bring him back because they brought in Javonte and then they brought in Carolina's sloppy 30 seconds with Miles Sanders. So I don't know what their strategy overall is there because he's a guy who developed from nothing with them. So very odd to see that. But yeah, he was one of those only guys that fit the criteria of like young, showed some stuff last year, could be interesting on a short-term deal to like on a trial run. He's played NFL games already. So yeah, I like that pick.
Yep. I love it. Didn't Rico go for like a sandwich too or something like that? I mean,
Actually the most expensive back on the market because Najee Harris was funny money. I thought that was 9 million, but looking at it, it was actually 5 million over 1 year. So
isn't it crazy how yeah, sorry, Zach. It's crazy how now we have to wait until all the details for contracts come out because, like with the Dre Greenlaw, I saw you comment on that. Like I'll comment on this signing when I know all the language of the contract because they all say, 3 years, so many million, but it turns out it's a 1 year prove it deal. So
how the sausage is made there. Largely how this stuff happens is agents text the information to insiders and then insiders report it themselves. Those are largely group chats. So if you want to be the first one to get it out there, follow-up questions and, pondering the information you're being told, that's wasted time. You got to copy and paste it onto Twitter first.
Oh yeah. You don't have time. And if you want to stay in the group chat, you have to put the signing just the way they say it. And you have to put the agent who did it and give them a shout out too. Cause if not, they'll boot you right out of the chat too.
Gotta give David Mulugeta his special attention.
He's pictured, the insider, the gumshoe detective with his trench coat in a dark alley meeting with someone getting all the 411. And it's basically just, some dude with his feet up on the desk watching his phone until the tweet comes in or whatever. Right. So
no, the reality is Adam Schefter, like, no, I'm sorry, honey and child, you cannot bother me for the next 24 hours. If I look away from my phone for a single second, it could cost me credibility.
It's crazy to me that the 2 seconds between Ian Rappaport, Schefter, or whomever that post that first one means so much to those people. Mm-hmm. Like literally you could just follow one of those guys and never miss anything because they all just tweet the same thing 30 seconds apart at the most. Like it's usually within a minute and then they have to be first by me and Pelissero or whatever. I don't know. I think it's kind of whatever, but I get it. DJ, we brought DJ back. Sayre, he was okay last year, right? Did we need to do this signing just based on not having anybody else, or is this a great move? What are your thoughts on bringing DJ back and keeping the band together?
I think it's a really good move. I mean, percentage of the cap wise, it's really, it's not only similar, I think it's even less of the salary cap pie overall than it was when he signed back in 2022. So you're basically keeping him on the same deal, relatively speaking, as you were before. And he plays at a high level run defense. I know he's, from my conversations I've had with Cody, sounds like he's outstanding in the locker room, which can't be overstated. I think that's a huge, huge deal for guys like that to be in and around the players, like somebody that everybody likes going to work with every day. That's a big deal. And not that you pay a guy 26 million guaranteed just to be a positive voice in the locker room, but the guy's one of the better run defenders in the game. I mean, to play less than 40% of the snaps and to have the demand that he likely had, which I'm guessing he probably would have had offers from the 49ers and anybody else that he has connections with around the league now in Carolina with Ejiro Evero and Vic Fangio, maybe even. I don't think he was there when Fangio, but maybe the translation of the defense having played for EJ. So I think that there's definitely value to having him back, even at the price that he's at, because once again, it's not my money. And I think that he's been a valuable player to this team, even without the TFLs or the sacks or pressures, things like that he creates for other players.
Yeah. Well done. Yep. Zachary.
Yeah, I think this is something they had to do, frankly. I think it's a very necessary move. The disrespect for DJ Jones saying, I don't know how well he played last year. He played amazing, Mike. He was awesome. He was great on that defensive line. One of their best run defenders, if not their best run defender, and still offers you a little something as a pass rusher. I think they absolutely had to do it. Also, they were really lucky last year. They put an insane amount of weight on Zach Allen's shoulders. He played the highest percentage of snaps of any defensive lineman in the league by a wide margin. Only 2 defensive linemen got over 1,000 snaps this season. If you count the postseason as well, Zach Allen and Jalen Carter. And they're like neck and neck at, I think Zach Allen's like 1,030 and Jalen Carter's like 1,060. Jalen Carter made it all the way to the Super Bowl, like
let's go.
And played in that first round too. So he had the 3 extra games to get there. You can't do that again to Zach Allen and expect that you're going to get 17 games of healthy at his best Zach Allen, in my opinion. Imagine what happens if DJ Jones, who ate 400, 500 snaps for you and gave you high quality play for those snaps, is out of the room. It gets a lot scarier. It gets a lot worse. Absolutely had to do it. Now, honestly, they need to add another body to that room because right now they're just treading water, and that's great. The situation's not getting worse, but you haven't found another body who can share some of the load with Zach Allen. Maybe you put
share the load.
Yeah, the Lord of the Rings thing. I would hope he's able to do that now that he got a nice payday. I hope that 26 million hitting his bank account all at once made him feel a little bit better, maybe about playing 150 snaps this season. But they got to find some other outlets so they're not putting all that on Zach Allen.
Yep. Great work. Great work. Good work. I love having real football analysts that can explain things to me. Because I am not, as you know. What'd you say?
It's the name a fake one.
I'm not going to do that tonight. I'm in a benevolent mood. I have skills, right? Like my skills they're not as usable as some people. Like I can name a song or an artist in like 3 seconds,
Love
3
it.
beats. I have an uncanny way of deciphering people's middle names, and I'm almost undefeated at that. For instance, like Zach. So Zachary, is your first name Zachary?
Yeah.
Zachary Segars. So by all rights, your middle name should be David, but it's not, because I picture, just from what I know about you, your aura, it's going to be a little fancier. You're a writer. I think of writing. I think of like the Constitution. I think of like, I'm not throwing away my shot. I'm going to say it's like Alexander, Zachary Alexander Segars.
Wow.
What do you think? Is it?
Pretty impressive.
Pretty impressive, isn't it? Yeah. These are my skills. And I didn't forget about you, Sayre.
Okay. All right.
So Sayre is a name I've never heard in my life. You're the singular Sayre in my life.
Yes.
So that's kind of a foo-foo name, Sayre. Yeah. Hippie parents.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like so your middle name honestly should be Michael. Sayre Michael Bedinger would be what an adult would have given you. But I know that's not your middle name because I can see it in your eyes right now. You are like you're probably a pinky drinker, which is fine.
Absolutely. 100%.
So I'm gonna say Philip. I'm gonna say it's Sayre Philip Bedinger.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. How many points am I awarding? One each.
Look at this oracle over here. You know what's crazy about what you just said is that my name is a family name, and my dad was kind of a hippie, big Beatles guy, big Pink Floyd guy.
You're never wrong.
My name was going to be until a buzzer change, like a buzzer beater change. It was going to be George Michael Bedinger, not the music artist, but yeah, family name once again. So you were spot on for 2. You're 2 for 2, quite frankly.
I don't award myself points, but George Michael, you got to have faith, and I know you do. Right. And so that would have been a good name for you too. But all right, let's move on. I'm sorry. It's what I do, guys. Don't worry about it. Let's touch on this real quick. JFM. Zach, I know you've got feelings about this. What are we going to do with this guy?
Man, I think you're gonna let him walk. I mean, I hate to say it, but I think that's probably the logical conclusion here. You locked up DJ Jones this offseason, so you're committed to him for the future. JFM's gone contractually. His contract expires after the 2025 season. Provide that.
Yeah, that was my question. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but yeah, the DJ Jones, he's expiring, and then Zach Allen, you're gonna have to re-up with him. He's gonna make comfortably over 20 million. That number might even sniff 30 million. I don't think you can invest all that in your defensive line. I mean, I think it's good too in some ways, but I don't think you can do it all financially. Like, yes, the Eagles have invested a lot in their defensive line. They let Milton Williams walk because they understood like the financial ramifications of it and investing their money in different places. Now, I bet they're going to draft another one in the first round or in the top 60 picks here in the very near future. And I think the Broncos should keep that in mind. Like, if they go offense or flashy in the first round, which I think maybe they should, running back, tight end, wide receiver, we all know the names. We've talked about them ad nauseum. I think going back with like a meat and potatoes guy in round 2, like Alfred Collins, who can immediately, I think people look at the high-end talent in that room and forget that there's an immediate need. As I was just talking about with DJ Jones, there's an immediate need to get Zach Allen some help in that room. You're immediately filling that. Boom, 2025 fixed. And you're setting yourself up to let JFM walk in 2026 and not hurt yourself all that much. And if you make a serious investment this offseason, next offseason, when you're rounding out that room, trying to find that additional body, you don't have to invest as much in it because you invested a top 50 pick in it in the 2025 draft. And Alfred Collins, right? Am I butchering that name? Alfred Collins or whatever has had some time to develop and season and learn from Zach Allen and the bunch, and he can be a plug and play starter. And now you can draft a 5th round super traitsy guy and bank on, developing him. Get ahead of it, set yourself up for the future. But ultimately, they've got other places to spend money, in my opinion. And I think JFM, you've gotten the bang for your buck. Time to let him walk.
All right, Zach, I want to give you a point. I don't know that this goes over 99. I've never tried.
Wow, you're breaking all sorts of.
Let's go.
Oh my God!
Well, it
10
does.
for 10.
It does. All right,
Wow.
Sayre, let's go.
Okay,
Come on.
So I'm gonna channel my inner Zon B21 here because I'm sure he's already said this somewhere, and I've probably even retweeted it at some point. Maybe that's why I even thought of it. But Omar Norman Lott, his uncle is Broncos, I guess, pass rush coach, coordinator. I don't know what his role is now. I didn't, whatever it is. That's his uncle. He's on the Broncos coaching staff. And so from Tennessee, the D lineman, that's a guy to watch for. I think that we talk about Alfred Collins, Vance Joseph's cousin is the pass game coordinator for Texas defense and their DBs coach. So you're going to get really good intel on at least a couple of these defensive linemen in this year's draft. And so I would absolutely say like 100% going for somebody. I've said this before, and I think that it still rings true after free agency. Your ideal first 3 picks in whatever order you want to put it in, it's got to be D-line and then 2 guys who could potentially be your joker. And I know, you can call it Mark Hamill since Zach already took some of the other top actors' names. I'll go with Mark Hamill for that one. And so I think that's got to be it. But the D-line class is just too good not to. And the reality is that the Broncos won't keep everybody, not because I think that they don't want to, but just because of the fact that the guys that they currently have are all approaching 30s. They're all approaching late 20s, early 30s, and you reset the clock with a number of different players that are coming in. And I just don't think you can pass on a class that's this good overall. And you've got connections to guys, which means that you're going to have really good intel on the kind of people that you're drafting. And that is so critical. We can watch the tape all day long. We can watch the combine all day long. If you know these guys personally and what they bring to a team and how they work, like that's why I think George Payton loved Pat Surtain. That's why I think the Broncos are going to love Mason Taylor from LSU. So to make a long story short with John Franklin Myers, there's plenty of other guys in the draft that, that not say they can just come in and immediately do what he does, but to give you that flexibility going forward. If you want to keep Zach Allen, you want to keep Nick Bonito, who's going to be that core for this team? Because I don't think it's necessarily going to be everybody.
Yeah. Well then. Yeah, I think you're both right. I think JFM is probably in danger of going away, and I'm not super concerned about it. But whatever. I mean, I'd like him to be here, but we'll see. Zach,
They'll
any
find-
last words on that?
They'll find a way to throw him a bag, I bet, just to make it a pleasant situation going into training camp. I think he'll be on the Broncos in 2025, and I think he'll play. I don't think there should be too much of a serious holdout there. But yeah, that's about it. I think it'll be like Cortland Sutton last year, except he, of course, has an expiring contract where Sutton didn't.
Yeah. Okay. Like it. Just some quick hits here before we go into the big debate, guys. I think Sayre and I talked about this. I just want to get your thoughts on Von Miller. Is he not the fifth best pass rusher if he was on the team over I can't even think of the guy's name that is number 5 on the depth chart? And also rumors about maybe, I mean, this is all Twitter fodder, but CMC, and then like Russ's trouble finding a job. Do you have any thoughts on any of this stuff? I find it interesting.
I think, I think it's all interesting. I think the Broncos should pass on all of the above. Even Russ, even though that wasn't how that question was phrased. Pass on all of them.
Wait, you don't want Russ back?
Yeah, Vaughn had a great time here in Denver, and will forever be a Bronco. I wouldn't be surprised if his jersey is retired one day, up alongside Floyd Little and John Elway and Tripucka / Peyton Manning in Mile High Stadium.
It's embarrassing.
That said, I think they let him go in part because it was time to get like some fresh voices in the room. And I think that was the right idea ultimately, even if the staff that orchestrated it wasn't the right staff. I think they had the right idea there. And I think Sean Payton's only continued to do it. Like guys like Justin Simmons, who I think was a great locker room leader, kind of sent out because, hey, I think maybe we need different locker room leaders because this isn't necessarily getting us where we want to be right now. I don't know if you want Von Miller as your 5th edge rusher or your 4th edge rusher in a room. In the same way, I don't think teams wanted Tim Tebow to be their backup quarterback, even when he was one of the 60 best quarterbacks in football. It's just a little too much of a distraction, a little too much of a headache. What happens when Nick Benito doesn't have a sack the first 3 weeks of the season? And now everyone is chanting for Vaughn to come in and start over Nick Benito. And now that contract negotiation's even icier than it was before, because we know Nick Benito can get prickled at sometimes.
How dare you even say that?
So I just, that one I'm no good on. CMC, great player, would fit perfect, but I don't think you can count on him being healthy, and the cost of acquisition is very, very high. Russ not being able to find a job. Guys, I've been telling you this for a few years now. The guy is no, but he's a little over the hill. And I'm not very surprised. I think it's one thing when you can sign him for a vet minimum contract, but he's what was that thing Sarah Palin did in Alaska? I remember it from when I was a kid growing up during that election, like the highway to nowhere or the bridge to nowhere. That got like halfway completed, and it was just like that's what Russell Wilson is. Like, it'll get you
what the hell?
but it's not getting you to the other side of the chasm or the river. It stops halfway there. He's so easy to game plan against. He does one thing well still, and he does it very well, but everything else is subpar to problematic in his game at this point. And I think he's going to end up signing for less than Justin Fields. So I'll feel smug about that.
Ooh. I generally always feel smug. Sayre, what do you say about I know we've had this conversation, but let's just are you surprised that, let me just redirect a little bit. Are you surprised that Russ is having trouble finding a landing spot?
No, I'm not, because of what we saw last year, especially down the stretch. And given the fact that he's dealt with injuries now, given the fact that the Steelers of all teams, the team that seemingly has the inevitable 10 wins every year or whatever, that he couldn't raise all boats in that harbor with the talent that he had around him. I mean, no, I'm not really surprised, especially because the situations for him that are out there, either returning to Pittsburgh, going to the Giants at this point, right? I mean, I don't know what else it's going to be. He probably should have taken the job that Zach Wilson got. That might be his best chance to play. So
It's cold. Yeah, that might be true though.
It might be. I don't know. We'll see. But Pete Carroll didn't want him back, which is interesting. He would rather have had Geno Smith for a 3rd-round pick than sign Russell Wilson to a short-term, probably team-friendly deal, which is interesting. But obviously, Geno's the better quarterback right now. And I think for me, like, I thought Russ was going to be able to have a Peyton Manning-like resurgence after, coming to Denver. And I think a lot of folks did. But yeah, Russ is cooked. I don't know if you know this. You've got crumble cookies in your comment section here, by the way, which the lineup this week is absolutely stellar at Crumble Cookies. If you're an aficionado like myself, I'm one step short of subscribing to that, whatever the service they offer there. But I love the idea of Von coming in. I think that, there's a fan service part of it that's what I like. But at the same time, like, he gave the Buffalo Bills 6 sacks on less than 300 snaps last year. And he was kind of in a similar type of role, maybe not the 5th guy off the edge, but I just feel like Von has that rare type of personality to be able to come in and do whatever. Like, he's so easygoing. The dude has a chicken farm, and every team needs a Scalabrini. If nothing else, you need an in-house mascot that wears the uniform every week, right? That was what Brian Scalabrini used to be for the Bulls and the Celtics and a number of other teams. So Von could be that guy that's like partly a coach, partly a player, partly there for the vibes, partly there for the fans. I like that idea. Christian McCaffrey, more fan service, which, hey, again, I'm a fan first. I'm here for the fan service stuff. If you put McCaffrey on the back of a jersey, I mean, that's going to be selling well.
Yeah.
I don't know what it would cost to trade for him. Now that the 49ers have traded Jordan Mason, I don't know that they would even do it. I think they're probably thinking to themselves, like, all right, well, we might as well ride this one out and see what happens here. We sent the guy to Germany last year to get his stuff fixed up. So we're going to see this one through. And could Kyle Shanahan ever trade Christian McCaffrey? I mean, I don't know. I don't know if he could do that. That would be tough for him, I bet.
I don't know. Well done. Well done, you. Well done, both of you. I just thought, I like to talk about stuff that maybe doesn't really have any consequence. And those are all those. And I've discounted Tillman when I was talking about that. That was not the guy I was thinking about. Yeah, I agree. No Von Miller, but I still love him. You know what? You bring Von Miller and CMC to the team, I'm buying jerseys. Sorry.
There we go.
Whether it's a smart move or not, don't care. Big debate. Let's do it. We gotta. We're ranking the AFC West QBs. And who won the toss? Sayre Bedinger?
Yeah, I did.
Sayre Philip
Bedinger,
I believe.
That's
Bedinger.
it. You nailed
Let's
it again.
go. Rank them.
Okay, number 1, we know Patrick Mahomes, although weird. He's had a weird couple of years. I mean, I don't think he's out there getting bored or anything. He's still doing incredible things, but I think we all expected him to stay in that 50 touchdown per year realm because of how special he really is at the position. And so to see him, I mean, maybe he's just out there trying stuff. He's throwing more interceptions, being more reckless with the ball. They turn it on every year at the same time, the last couple of years, 2 or 3 years. So, but still, to me, he's the best quarterback in the league, in the division, certainly. This is where it gets a bit murky for me because I don't think that Justin Herbert is the clear number 2 in the division. I think he's proven way more than Bo Nix. I think that he's obviously got the pedigree or whatever you want to call it, but there's something about Justin Herbert that I'm just not buying what he's selling. I think that the playoffs were a great example of that. And it's not, one game does not define a quarterback. The body of work speaks to it. But to me, I like Bo Nix's, projection better. I like the it factor with Bo Nix better. I think he has a better capability to lead a team. I think that he's got, as good of traits in some ways, maybe not the same type of arm talent overall, but I like Bo Nix better than Herbert. I almost like Geno Smith in some ways better than Justin Herbert, to be honest with you. I mean,
hot take.
I know that's a hot take, but Geno Smith ball distribution is there. The dude stands tough in the pocket. If you watch the Seahawks last year, Geno getting hit as often as he did, I have a new respect for Geno Smith. I know I like to fight with Seahawks fans every once in a while on Twitter, but I have a huge respect for Geno Smith, the way that he came back from being written off by the entire NFL, basically. I don't think Justin Herbert is bad by any means. Don't hear me wrong in that. Like, he came against Denver's #1 defense and lit them up, exploited them, and exploited their worst weaknesses. But to me, I'm going to go Mahomes, Bo Nix. I'll go hot take here. I'm going to say Geno Smith #3 for this year anyway, and I'll take Justin Herbert #4. I like that list. I'll start it off there. We'll get spicy in here.
Oh my God! Hang on a second. Let me just. Before you go, I just have to. All right. Hey, it's your take, man. I'm just here to keep score.
Yeah.
We got special guest Cecil Lammy on the show.
No, he's not on the show.
Lucas Kroll over.
Don't give me any more trouble than I'm already in. Segars, let's go. Let me hear you rank him and why.
Man, this is real tough. What was your final ranking? Mahomes, Nix, Smith, Herbert?
Yeah. Yep.
Whoa, dang, man. I was game planning. I was like, how am I going to come up with this ranking to disagree with Sayre here? And I was thinking maybe I put Nix over Herbert, and maybe that's my spicy.
That was your ace in the hole.
And it's like, damn, I didn't have nearly enough dip on my chip. All right, let me actually debate this now. One, Mahomes. I agree with Sayre. I think he's not the obvious #1 if we're talking NFL wide that he was a few years ago, but I think he's still the best in the division, even if Allen and Lamar, I think, are kind of in that same tier now. #2 for me, gosh, man, I do think I ultimately still go Herbert. I think Herbert's flawed. I'll be basic here. I think Herbert's flawed, and I think Sayre's points about he's gotten a lot of love relative to his team success are ultimately fair. And it's not just QB wins, like blowing the, what was it, 28-0 lead, 24-0, something like that, lead in the playoffs a few years back. Like, get your team a drive. Like, absolutely the defense collapsed there. Absolutely the run game collapsed there, no doubt. But if you're a top 5 quarterback in the league, like, get your team a drive to stop that comeback from happening. I think he's a little overrated, but I think he's more in that like 8 to 12 range alongside like a Geno Smith than he is too much lower than that. I'll also say, are we saying like going forward or last year are we ranking? I'm going to say we're ranking going forward. And I'm going to say Bo at 3. I think he will surpass Geno here, but it's going to be work. I mean, Sayre talked about how he thinks Geno is better than Herbert in some ways, and I don't think that it's a hot take, but I don't think it's too ridiculous because these guys are a lot closer than I think the average NFL fan thinks. Geno Smith is one of the best quarterbacks in the league when it comes to downfield accuracy. He had a better passer rating and EPA per dropback and QBR than Bo Nix when kept clean and when under pressure. Overall, I think Bo Nix has a slight advantage in some of those areas, but it's because no one was under pressure more than Geno Smith and no one was kept clean more than Bo Nix. The samples we're working with for these two quarterbacks in recent memory could not be drastically more different. Geno Smith had the second highest rate in the NFL of quick pressures. So it's not him being Russell Wilson out here. It's the offensive line blowing up before 2 seconds of a play have elapsed. Bo Nix under pressure was the worst quarterback in the NFL, worst starting quarterback in the NFL by almost any way you want to measure it. I still think he's going to grow, and I think he's going to surpass Geno Smith. But I think it's close because that's a big hole in his game he's got to figure out. He's not always going to have the best pass protection in the league. That said, what Bo Nix has in spades is the ability to improve. I think that is absolutely, coaching is a part of it. Situation's a part of it. Absolutely. There is something to be said about having the aptitude to learn and growth and implement it into an NFL game. And we've seen, the Judys of the world, it can't click for him despite all the talent, or the Drew Locks of the world can't click for him despite all the talent. Not a problem for Bo Nix. He was a laughing stock at the start of his college career, was a beloved Heisman contender by the end of it, and a first-round pick. at the start of his rookie season, you had the announcers saying, "Oh no," because he was making throws so bad that were going to be such obvious interceptions. And by the end of season, he racked up more total touchdowns than any Denver Broncos quarterback not named Peyton Manning, beating any John Elway season. The trajectory is ridiculous. He's going to be the new number 3, but Herbert's still 2.
Sears coming in with a heater.
He's a heater, man. Don't give me too much credit here. That was a hot take, sir. Tip of the cap.
I actually liked I liked the gamesmanship here, like what does Mike want to hear? And then knowing that, then just throwing it out and just saying what you really think, because the score doesn't matter, as we all know. But
as long as it anyway rules.
That's right. I would rank them. I can't even say it out loud, so I'm not going to. Let's just say number 2 is too close to call, as is this game. But somebody always has to win, because that's how the game works. So Zach, champion, undefeated. Congratulations. As always.
He didn't know. Let me just say really quick, going into this episode, Mike didn't know if we could hit 100 on the scoreboard. And I mean, Sayre's got 118. He cruised over that threshold. So I'm happy to give you your what Rumble in the Jungle? Wasn't that what it was called? Your all-time classic bout, Mike. Do I get my rant time?
It says mic drop right there. I wish you would rant. First of all, I wish you would congratulate your opponent, who
I feel like I
just kicked ass as always tonight.
I feel like I just spent the first 30 seconds of my acceptance absolutely congratulating him, but I'll do some more. Absolutely.
Sayre, you got all the time you need, Zach.
Had an all-time performance by your own measure with 9 out of 10 in the game that tied the previous best. We absolutely crushed it. You're welcome, by the way. And Sayre can say you're welcome as well to you, Mike. But
thank you.
My rant, and I really wanted to do this show again because I was like, what's a platform where I can rant about this? Because I do not have one. And this is the platform. The NFL needs to bring back NFL Europe. It is the perfect solution to a lot of the problems they're facing right now. They want a bigger international presence, but it's a problem to be moving these players for the travel. The travel sucks. It's also a problem to move a team over there. That logistically just doesn't make sense. But they want to have that international presence. Meanwhile, you're having the UFL and all these spring leagues spring up to provide a developmental league for the NFL. And it's been clear, look at the additions the Broncos have made from the AAF, UFL now, Dondre Tillman being the most recent one. It's helping the league. Guys that otherwise would have slipped through the cracks are becoming useful NFL players, and the product is better as a result because the NFL has this unofficial developmental league. Imagine how much better it would be if it was officially a developmental league and you could take chances on these longer shot prospects and send them to a farm system over in Europe. You're giving the fans something to continue to grow that fan base over there. Hopefully you end up getting international players as a result of this, further enriching the talent pool. And we all got spring football that's well funded, and it's going to be tied to your team. So you might care the Berlin Galaxy or whatever, they're the Broncos farm team alongside, maybe every AFC and NFC team shares a farm team or something like that. So you get a natural fan base built in, all that. I haven't fully fleshed it out, but it makes too much damn sense. And I want the league to do it. Who cares about the Birmingham Stallions? Who has any attachment to that team? But if there was an Irish team, there'd be tons of people Irish heritage, all that stuff. We see it with St. Paddy's Day today. So it makes too much sense. They got to do it. Bring it back. Nick Ferguson, my great coworker, got to start in NFL Europe. We need it back. Whoa! I won so much that Mike got the Zach or muted himself. Oh my goodness!
He muted himself after that. He's like, I don't even want to follow that up. My gosh,
right.
There he is.
I'm sorry. There's been a little adjustment to the score here. So
I got the victory lap. I got the trophy, man.
Yeah. So eventually it had to happen. I've got an audience in here. I've got a cat in here, and so I get it now. I get how it happens, but I'll tell you what, this is about as fun as it gets for me. It's a great show. Two of my favorite guests of all time, and I appreciate Zach actually bringing a take at the end for the hot mic or mic drop segment. That is super cool. And just quick update for you guys. Thursday night is Kodiak Broncos and Marquee Sports. And then have to do a Tuesday one next week, which I hate to do because that's a night I try to avoid. But I've got Zach Stevens and Brandon Cristal. BK will be on Tuesday night. So tune in for that. If not, catch it on the replay. And again, I'd like to thank my wonderful guests, Zach Segars, Sayre Philip Bedinger. You guys are the best. Thanks for